AI is writing 41% of the world's code, and most of it needs a human to fix it. So why is IBM tripling its hiring instead of replacing workers? This is Harold Hot Take, a Wild Pines production. AI is now writing 41% of all code worldwide. 92% of US developers use AI coding tools every single day, and the market behind this shift just hit $4.7 billion. But here's the stat nobody in Silicon Valley wants to talk about. 63% of developers say they spend more time debugging AI-generated code than it would take to just write it themselves. Meanwhile, one of the biggest tech companies on the planet just made a move that flips the entire AI replaces workers narrative on its head. Let's get into it. Vibe coding has officially gone mainstream in 2026. If you haven't heard the term, vibe coding is the practice of building software using natural language prompts. You describe what you want in plain English and an AI tool generates the code for you. The term was coined by Andrej Karpathy, the former head of AI at Tesla, back in early 2025. And in just over a year it's gone from a novelty experiment to the dominant way software gets written. New market research confirms the scale of this shift, and the numbers are staggering. 92% of US developers now use AI coding tools on a daily basis. Not occasionally, not for side projects. Daily in their core workflow. Globally, 82% of developers use these tools at least weekly. And the output tells the story even more clearly. 41% of all code written worldwide is now AI generated. The tools driving this include GitHub Copilot, which has surpassed 1.8 million paying subscribers, along with fast-growing competitors like Cursor, Replit, and Vercel's V0. At Google and Microsoft, 30% of all new code is already AI-generated. 87% of Fortune 500 companies are using at least one vibe coding platform. The market itself is valued at $4.7 billion globally and is projected to balloon to $12.3 billion by 2027, a compound annual growth rate of about 38%. 21% of Y Combinator's winter 2025 batch had code bases that were 91% AI-generated. Collins Dictionary even named vibe coding its 2025 Word of the Year. But here's where the narrative gets complicated. 63% of developers report that they spend more time debugging AI-generated code than writing code themselves from scratch. Over 40% of junior developers admit to deploying AI-generated code they don't fully understand. And one analyst projects that AI-generated code will create $1.5 trillion in technical debt by 2027. This is the moment vibe coding stopped being a trend and became the baseline. When 92% of developers in the world's largest tech market are using these tools daily, the conversation is no longer about whether AI coding works. It's about what happens next. And what happens next is where it gets uncomfortable, because the data reveals a paradox at the heart of the AI coding revolution. Developers feel faster. Surveys show they report 3 to 5 times productivity gains. But a controlled study from the research group Meta in 2025 found that developers were actually 19% slower on complex tasks when using AI tools because of all the extra time spent reviewing, debugging, and refining output. Think about what that means for founders and engineering leaders. The tools generate code at incredible speed, but the code isn't production ready. It's almost right but not quite, which is arguably worse than being obviously wrong because it passes a quick glance. It looks correct. It runs. And then it breaks in production in ways that are harder to diagnose than bugs you wrote yourself. The real productivity unlock isn't the AI writing code, it's having skilled engineers who can evaluate, correct, and architect around what the AI produces. The tools are extraordinary, but they've shifted the bottleneck from code generation to code judgment. And that distinction matters enormously for anyone building software products right now. The thing to watch here is the debugging gap. If tool makers like GitHub, Cursor, and Replit can close the quality gap and generate code that needs less human review, this market will accelerate even faster. But if that gap persists, expect a counter-movement, a premium on senior engineers who can actually ship reliable software, and a growing market for AI code auditing and quality assurance tools built specifically to catch what the generators miss. So AI is generating more code than ever, but humans are still essential for making it actually work. Now it turns out one of the largest technology companies in the world just arrived at that exact same conclusion, and they're putting serious money behind it. Not by investing in more AI tools, By hiring more humans. IBM just announced that it is tripling its entry-level hiring in the United States in 2026. Not trimming, not maintaining, tripling. The announcement came from Nikhil Lamoro, IBM's Chief Human Resources Officer, speaking at Charter's Leading with AI Summit in New York on February 13. Lamoro didn't just announce the hiring push, she made a bold prediction. Quote, "The companies 3 to 5 years from now that are going to be the most successful are those companies that doubled down on entry-level hiring in this environment." End quote. Now here's what makes this genuinely surprising. This is IBM, a company with 270,000 employees. A company that cut about 1% of its workforce just last year. A company whose CEO Arvind Krishna has been one of the most vocal executives in tech about AI's transformative potential. And they're saying we need more humans, not fewer. But these aren't the same entry-level jobs that existed 2 years ago. Lamoro was explicit about that. Quote, "The entry-level jobs that you had 2 to 3 years ago, AI can do most of them." End quote. So IBM redesigned the roles entirely. Junior software engineers now spend less time on routine coding because AI handles that and more time working directly with customers, understanding requirements, and providing the human judgment that AI can't replicate. In IBM's HR department, entry-level staff no longer field every employee question manually. AI chatbots handle the routine inquiries. Instead, the new hires intervene when those chatbots fall short, correcting output, escalating issues, and talking directly to managers when the situation demands a human touch. Lamoro also made a sharp strategic argument for why companies that slash entry-level hiring will regret it. If you don't build your pipeline now, you won't have mid-level managers in 3 to 5 years. You'll be forced to poach them from competitors at a premium, and those external hires take longer to adapt and perform. It's a workforce planning argument disguised as a hiring announcement. This announcement matters because of who's making it and when. The dominant narrative in tech for the past 2 years has been that AI will hollow out the entry-level workforce. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei warned last year that half of entry-level office jobs could vanish by 2030. The unemployment rate among young college graduates currently sits at 5.6%, near its highest level in over a decade outside the pandemic. Into that environment, IBM is saying the opposite. AI doesn't eliminate the need for junior talent. It changes what junior talent does. The routine work gets automated. The human work, judgment, customer interaction, oversight, escalation expands. This is a fundamentally different model of AI adoption than replace humans with AI. It's give humans AI tools and redesign their roles around what only humans can do. And it suggests that the companies racing to cut headcount because of AI might be making a strategic mistake they'll pay for years down the road. IBM isn't alone in this thinking either. Dropbox recently announced it's expanding its internship and new grad programs by 25%. Specifically because younger workers tend to be more fluent with AI tools. There's a quiet counter-movement forming. Companies betting that the real competitive advantage isn't having fewer people, it's having the right people working alongside AI in redesigned roles. The question now is whether other large enterprises follow IBM's lead or whether this remains an outlier move. Watch for 2 things. First, whether IBM discloses specific hiring numbers in the coming quarters, because tripling without a baseline is still vague. And second, whether this redesigned role model starts showing up in other Fortune 500 hiring plans. If it does, the narrative around AI and employment could shift dramatically by the end of this year. Here's the bigger picture to sit with. AI is rewriting how software gets built and how companies get staffed at the same time. The tools are more powerful than ever, but the need for human judgment, human oversight, and human decision-making isn't shrinking. If anything, it's growing. The question isn't whether AI changes the game, it's whether the people and companies adapting to it are building something durable or just moving fast and hoping for the best. If you want to stay sharp on this stuff, we cover AI and tech news here every single day. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.